Hello, this is Ori, back with another tanking guide. This time it's the other side with Prideful. Before you begin, ask if any of your teammates are Night Fae so you can know where to tank certain mobs. Here I pulled just the first two ads because I did this on an explosive week, so I didn't want to have too many orbs to worry about when I pulled the rest of the platform. It's important to kite the Risen Warlord when they in range so that you don't die. The route for +10s and up changes, so in order to get Prideful at the correct times for the other side, you want to go all the way to the entrance to the Mana Storms, kill those ads, and then make a U-turn back to Hakar, and then all your Pridefuls should come up at the correct times, which is usually before boss fights. This is an urn I have circled, and this is where your team member who is Night Fae, if you have them, will come in handy. This urn stuns any ads in it for about 10 seconds. I would recommend tanking the enraged spirit close to the urn so that he can be stunned. After you kill these mobs, you'll get the Prideful ad. After you kill the Prideful, you will use the buff to kill the two Risen Warlords. You can also kill the enraged spirit at the same time, but my group did not. When you get into Hakar's room, pull the first mob that you'll see, as well as the patrolling Hexer. There's also an urn here, but I would recommend using it for the mob at the entrance to Hakar, not with the mob that's standing right next to it. These ads leave a big pool, so you just need to move the other ads out of it. Should get Prideful right before Hakar if you do the route that I'm doing, which is important for tyrannical weeks especially. You can tank Hakar pretty much where he stands, and taunt the ads so that they're not hitting the DPS too much. You may have to move Hakar depending on where ads die so that he's not sitting in the big pools of blood that the ads leave behind. Do not stand in anyone else's red circle and avoid the AoE attacks on the ground. Then you have a clear run all the way into the Mechagon area. You will want to tank the dental drill in the corner so that when he casts Haywire, all your DPS can line of sight him with the wall that juts out or the pipe that comes down from the ceiling. I personally always stand behind the pipe so that I'm closest to the Aed when he stops casting Haywire. And then there are small ants that just explode. I personally cast an attack on them so that they can explode in the corner. I don't wait for them to come to me. I use my sigil of chains and that chains them in a corner for a little bit and then they explode and no one dies. There's another dental drill ad that you will want to tank in a corner so that the DPS and yourself can line of sight his AoE cast Haywire. Taunt and or stun the small group of ads so that they can explode away from your team. The lubricators need to be interrupted because they cast a self-cleaning cycle that heals them. You should get Prideful right before entering the arena for the mana storms. Try not to stun your fellow teammates with the debuff that the Pride puts on you. Also, make sure that everyone is in the room before you pull the bosses. I would recommend not killing Millhouse right away so that you can have the Shadow Fury debuff that stuns Maleficent so that she doesn't cast her AoE attack. As a tank, you need to keep Millhouse still so that the DPS can line up their red arrows that will stun his diabolical doom. For Maleficent, if you have anything that can remove bleeds, that would help your survivability. You can kite Maleficent so that you do not have high stacks of her buzzsaw bleed that she puts on the tank. Now we are just running to the next boss wing, which is the Ardenwold wing. Here I pull the Enraged Mask and those two ads by themselves. There is an urn here, but we won't use it for these three. This is the urn in case you missed it. We use the urn for the bigger group of mobs because it stuns them for 10 seconds. And then this hallway, you just have to be careful not to get hit by the white stuff that comes out from the wall. So you're going to want to pull these 4 butterflies and that small mob to the left hand side. The moths give you a debuff that can put you to sleep, so you just have to jump periodically to avoid falling asleep. You will get Prideful on this hill After you kill the Prideful, use that buff to do a big pull to get a lot of your percentage. Try not to get stunned or stun people with the Prideful buff. So as the tank, you should pull all these ads close to the urn that I will highlight, so that the ads can be stunned and DPS downed. Also, try not to ever pull the hatchlings, because the hatchlings cast a frightened cry and then all the cranes in the area will come to the hatchling side. Here is another group of moths that will cast a debuff on you that will make you fall asleep, so you just need to jump to remove stacks of it so that you do not fall asleep. On this hill you will get another Prideful, which is great because this is right before the dealer boss. And this is also the last Prideful of this dungeon. I personally like to tank the dealer boss closer to an edge so that I can jump away when she does her explosion. And I do not need to use a portal because you can just run away from her if you have enough mobility. As the tank, you want to try to get arcane lightning on you as much as possible so that your DPS do not die from it. Now, I do not consider Mozilla a tank boss. Everyone has to do their part for this last boss in order to be successful. He does give you a debuff called Soul Crusher. Just use one of your defensives and you'll live through it. You will also need to do the dance twice before the Shattered Reality pops up, which gives you portals to go to the different platforms. You can tell where his wave is going to hit by what hand is moving. I like to always go front left with my healer, and then the DPS decide amongst themselves which platform they will go to. You can do this in one shot if everyone survives, but for this run, one of the DPS died, so we had to repeat this first phase of him casting the Master of Death. And after you kill the last totem, you just need to DPS Mozilla a little bit, and that will be the end of the boss fight. So thank you for watching my guide for tanking the other side with Prideful. If it was helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe to see more of my content.